how would you go about selecting the right contractor, Joe? What would you say would be a tip right there?
I would just say use my document that we created. We just perfected it. I mean, when you're starting, you don't have the team ready. And what happens is when you're starting, you are interviewing for contractors, right? So you don't know which is the right contractor, which is not. So I go through maybe 10, 15, 20 interviews with contractors. I have a package that I created with answers all the questions that they might have. I tell them what are the things that I need from them. Are you licensed? Right? That's a good tip. Check their license, go online, make sure they have license. Also make sure that the contractor makes money. It's not just about saving money, because if you put a contractor on a tight spot, it's going to affect your end game in the next 12, 24 months, a year, 5 years. So make sure everyone is happy. Everyone is eating. You're providing a service to a lot of families. You're putting food in a lot of families. Make sure everyone wins. It has to be a win-win. So make sure you know. I remember when I started, I literally would have a pitch, and I would look at myself in the mirror and practice the pitch that I would be talking to the contractors. Learn a little bit about construction. It really, really helps. It's hard to find it, but again, these are the things that we just picked after tons of properties that really make a difference.
So the way somebody can learn a little bit about construction, one would be to follow the home inspector around, right? That would probably be one of them, right? To basically follow him around and ask him questions, and even ask him like, hey, look, I'm not asking for your commitment, but could you tell me approximately how much this should cost to fix up? Because sometimes they write those reports, those home inspection reports, and to a first-time home buyer, they think, man, this home is falling apart, when the reality is every home has things that is wrong with it, And sometimes it seems more expensive than it actually is. And some things need to be done immediately, and some things don't have to be done for 10, 20, 30 years as well.
Very smart. But think about what you just said, which is super smart. We're buying the house, right? They're selling. They as the seller. We get this document, right? This document is a liability to the inspector. They have insurance, and they don't want to be sued. They're gonna disclaim everything, even more, right? There's a dragon in the attic, whatever, right? There's I've seen ghosts, right? They will just put every little thing and more. You have these gory photos of mold, like looks like a monster trying to grab you from the photo in the picture, right? But the idea is utilize that, because you're buying. That you've done, maybe it's your first one, but you just know that a lot of things will show up. A lot of it is exaggerated. The inspector has to disclaim all this. If the problems are really there, you don't want to lie, but if they're really there, you can leverage that report, right? In one of our last projects, I leverage, again, with truth. Don't lie, with truth. I leveraged $60,000 on repairs. $60,000. So I started that project $60,000 plus before I even started it, right? So I leveraged that report from the inspector. It cost me $500, and I leveraged that to the seller. I said, listen, I got all these problems. Look at these photos. Look at all this, and this is the work that you do, right? This is the work that you're always representing your clients, do the best job to lower the prices down, try to utilize that. So leverage those reports.
So what Joe is saying is, this is a mistake that I see, especially in the real estate game. A lot of people look at the home inspection as a cost. It's not a cost. It's an investment. What I mean by that, essentially, a home inspection report can actually help certain people negotiate a request for repairs. I've got people sometimes say, I don't want one. I'm not going to do it, because they don't want to spend the $400 on it. But what if that home inspector finds things that weren't expected in the real estate transaction, and now you're able to get a $4,000 credit? Was that a good investment? In your case, it was a $60,000 price reduction that you were able to get. Not only that, I've seen it where to a buyer, you don't really see something is wrong with it. And in one case, there was no cracks, but the foundation was off. The guy literally put a marble at the beginning of the kitchen. The marble went down to the front of the kitchen, and he said, look, this is a prime example. The house is lopsided, and the marble went all the way to the bottom. And it was just really interesting to see that, because that wasn't leveled. Had the guy not been able to, had the guy not gotten a home inspector, that's a $30,000-$40,000
More,
mistake right there.
even
Yeah,
more,
yeah. For foundation, it could be $100,000.
even more. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Would you, how would, what would you say for somebody